Hello, folks. Welcome to Techthusiasm Live podcast for, what are we, Monday, November 24th. New little intro there, some actual theme music. Enthusiasm. I thought that was pretty cool. Playing around with the AI again a little bit. I haven't really done any more AI videos and stuff, but I've still had it in the back of my mind that I wanted like a theme song kind of thing. So anyway, there it is. Hardly anybody saw that as we're just getting started. So it'll play again at the end. Maybe I'll play it at the half-hour mark just to share it once we got a little bit more of a crew hanging out. But in any case, I hope everybody's having a good one. Thanksgiving week coming in here. Happy Thanksgiving to those that I guess Thanksgiving matters to. If not, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, Monday, November 24th, it was a very awesome home theater weekend. So that's kind of the main topic for today. I can muse on a whole bunch of other things. We probably will have a special guest joining us a little bit later into the hour. Another home theater, kind of more of a little bit, maybe more of a gaming, but home theater enthusiast, gaming podcaster, YouTuber person that's usually in the chat most of the weeks here for this podcast. He does his own show and stuff, but he was here Saturday for the event. So I was inviting a couple of the folks that came Saturday if they wanted to join in the live stream today and just maybe share their thoughts, give some feedback, etc. about the event, what they thought of the room, and how everything kind of came together. And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we'll kind of use on all of that. Oh no, Julius, welcome. Didn't see the ad. Oh, didn't see the intro because the ad popping up. Oh man, they put an ad right at the beginning. Come on, YouTube. All right, here you go, Julius, just for you. I'm gonna go ahead. Let's play the cue the intro music one more. All right, there you go. You're home for the fun of home theater. That's a trademark now, by the way. I really like that. I really like that phrase. I might use that. Might use that more going forward. I think that embodies the channel pretty well, and I like the way it sounds. So, yeah. So just hanging out today. Again, we'll talk about the home theater event, the showcase, as I'm calling it. I like that word, so that's what I'm using. The Techthusiasm Fall Showcase. Transpired over the weekend. Got the living room all set up. That was really one of the driving factors of wanting to have the living room good and set before hosting my intent for the fall get together, the fall meetup, the fall showcase. So I love it when a plan comes together, and that one did. So we were ready to go for that. So we'll muse on that again, talk about a couple of other things. There's interesting news, sales opportunities and stuff popping up. Wallace has it right there. Anthem on sale. Yep. That came out today. Actually 15% off of Anthem products. Do I think new products are coming? I don't, not right now anyway. Not at this time of the year. They run the sale pretty consistently now since I've been paying attention. I think Anthem runs an end of year sale. It has run an end of year sale every year for the last few years. So I believe the current sale started today, runs through the very beginning of January, like January 5th or something like that. 15% off of the entire product line, STR, AVM, MRX, and the amplifiers as well. MCA amps. If anybody's buying that stuff, if you would like a direct referral to somebody that can can run your order and get you taken care of, reach out to me, of course. I can put you in touch with somebody. Or if you're just going online, Audio Advice and Crutchfield both sell Anthem. And of course, I have my affiliate links to both of those sources. I love it, recommend it. Been very happy with it. I think everybody was very impressed once again with the AVM 90 and the work that it's doing in the theater here. So you can get to those links in the description of the videos. I can give them out in referrals as well. Go to the webpage, techthusiasm.com. But yes, Anthem gear is on sale for 15% off MSRP for about the next 6 weeks. I think it'll be 5 or 6 weeks. So let's talk about the event. I did a get together here about a year ago. If anybody's looking for home theater friends in your areas potentially, I definitely recommend going to AVS Forum, and they have basically a whole forum area where people post and organize and communicate in local groups for get-togethers and meetups. They call them GTGs, get-togethers. I happened into the Michigan group for this stuff a couple years ago now, very early in the channel. It's probably actually 4 years ago. I think it was the very first year that I started making YouTube videos. That fall or Christmas time ish, almost end of the year ish, was the first Michigan meetup that I went to. And I've been to probably more than a dozen, perhaps, since then. I've hosted as well in some small groups, and I did a bigger get together right around this time last year, actually. Now, though, things are a little bit more evolved, of course, because it's not for me. It's not really just a get together. It's really kind of like it's a demo showcase. It's a dealer showcase as well. It's an opportunity to kind of show off this my spaces and the things that I have are they're they're home theater, but they're business and investments really at this point. So, for all intents and purposes, it's a dealer event, it's a brand event, but it's a hangout, it's a get together. It's not all business, not all business feel, but I want to make it fun for everybody to come and have a good time and just host a nice fun event. So we did it Saturday. Doors opened around 1 o'clock. I think pretty much everybody was gone by the 5 o'clock hour. I think I had something like 30 invitees total. Um, After posting and kind of advertising, I advertised a little bit on the channel here as well, but still kind of keeping it a little small and focused. I had a get together thread on AVS forum, and then a bunch of other more direct invites to folks that I knew in the area. Had some friends over invited as well, some colleagues at work at my day job that I know were interested in the hobby and audio, video, and home theater and stuff like that. And then a bunch of other like direct invites, of course, that were customers around the area or drivable at least to get here. Some of them have been here before as well. They've come for demo experiences and that, but invited all of them who don't have a presence or they don't visit AVS forum. So I think we had about 20 people, just a hair under 20 people show up. Uh, there was a couple of folks that had to cancel, a couple of illnesses, of course. People weren't feeling well and didn't want to spread their germs, which I appreciate. A couple of tentatives that proved to be not available. There's still a good handful of guys that are that very commonly turn up in the Michigan get-togethers that haven't actually had occasion to come here yet. So I was really hoping to catch and have the opportunity for some of those guys to come by, but there's still like 3 or 4 of them that haven't been able to make it at all, and then a couple other ones that have been here before but could make it Saturday. So anyway, doors open and people cycling in. I really tried to make it a very formal event, add some structure and logistics to it and that. So open doors at 1, had a nice big food spread, drinks, refreshments, all that, some adult beverages and whatnot. Had catering. So the catering was arrived and set up by about 2 o'clock. And then my wife, thank you. I'll put a thank you out there. They probably won't hear this, but thanks to my wife and my kids as well. They lended a bunch of contributions to make the day possible and kind of facilitate everything, get the house ready, clean things up, um, provide the food, make sure. And basically, I was down here a lot, kind of running the demos while the family was upstairs, kind of seeing to everybody's enjoyment and mingling. Um, Keeping all the food and drinks refreshed and stuff like that. So I did the demos very deliberately. I wanted to set out for a very structured demo kind of experience rather than just kind of opening the doors and having people walking in and out of the theater and getting too much into like request and jumping around in content and stuff like that. I'm like, no, let's do this real structured. So I spent a while Friday night um, putting together a Kaleidoscape demo script. Kaleidoscape is obviously very perfect for this type of thing. You have your movies downloaded, you can use the built-in scenes or make scenes and then string them together in a script that you just kind of play and it goes through. And in the scripting sequencing as well, you can insert like the movie poster, which was what I did. So I put the movie poster up for about 5 seconds and I would play a scene from that movie and then do the next one and the next one. So I ended up doing 5 clips stringing together. It was about a 20-minute demo. I did started with Superman, the kaiju fight with the Justice Gang in Superman. That was already a predefined Kaleidoscape demo scene for, or a predefined scene for Superman. Then I did the Bad Guys 2. I wanted to get some animation in there. So let me go back actually. Superman brought in a very bright scene, live action, although of course a lot of CG with the monster and stuff, but a daylit, bright combat scene, action scene, a lot of motion, and some kind of cool special effects and stuff. Some fast motion, some slower motion as Superman speeds through and does his thing. And then I went with the Bad Guys 2. I really liked that movie. I was picking stuff that I liked as well. I wanted to try to stick to some newer content and not just do the same old demo reels. Right? Anybody can do Ready Player One and John Wick and whatever, a lot of the stuff that we play a lot for demos in our home theaters. But I wanted to go newer. I wanted to go things that I liked and kind of tell a story of sorts through the demo. So Bad Guys 2, awesome movie, hilarious movie, I think. Didn't actually have predefined scenes in Kaleidoscape, which originally I thought it did, but I must have mistaken myself. So I just made a scene about halfway through the movie. The bad guys get released by the police chief, and then the villains are stealing a space shuttle to go up into space and do some villainous things. And the bad guys group basically infiltrates the shuttle as it's launching, and so there's some big bass heavy notes that shuttle's taking off. It's rumbling really strong, really nice bright imagery. It's a daytime scene as well, but there's the flare of the shuttle and the fire and the rockets and all that stuff. Funny scene, some comedy and stuff in there as well. But and then the long tone as the shuttle separates and the Raptor boot the last like booster stage engages, boom, a lot of rumble and all that. So definitely getting some bass into the demo scenes. So I cut from that to, and this one is one that we see a lot in the demo scene, but Star is Born, Shallow, them singing the song. So I wanted to make sure to get some music in there, a musical scene from a movie, because I was only doing movie scenes, not music demos specifically. But went with that one. There's male vocals, there's female vocals, I think there's a really richness to that score. So that is a common one, but I think it's still a really good one. I did notice actually I was trying to add that song to the script in Kaleidoscape, and what I was finding was actually when you do the song, it doesn't stop playing after the song. Like the movie continues to play. So I actually ended up having to go in and I cut my own scene, made my own scene for the specific segment of the movie where they sing that song together on stage. So that was number 3. That also kind of like toned down the action a little bit, gave everybody like a mid-script breather, chance to just kind of just sit back and keep it smooth a little bit more. So we went from that one. Then scene 4 was the Fantastic Four. Again, kind of leveraging the stuff that I like, superheroes, comic books, etc. Went with the Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, the Galactus escape scene where they're leaving Galactus's ship, and the Silver Surfer is pursuing them, and they basically lose her in the black hole. So intense scene, drama. There's some comedy in that one as well in terms of their interactions and stuff. Really nice lit imagery. It's kind of a dark scene, but there's a lot of particulates and things around in space. The lasers are shooting off, and there's colors and different kind of visual elements to that scene. Real great musical score behind it. Real upbeat and kind of intense, exciting. It's like an exciting action sequence, right? As they're escaping. That was already a scene defined for the movie in Kaleidoscape. And then the last one I went with Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I think it is, not Dead Reckoning. I haven't watched those movies yet, but the scene where Tom Cruise he's in the submarine and it's rolling down the hill underwater. So there's a ton of pressurization in there, a lot of big bass notes, some tension as well. But primarily that one was the dark scene. Real thick, inky blacks in that scene, but the massive focal point of HDR from the lights and stuff on his suit and some of the lighting and stuff around from the inside of the submarine. So that was also a predefined scene for the movie on Kaleidoscape. So 5 scenes, about 20 minutes, and it really hit strong. People really liked it. So the script told an awesome story. Again, bright, dark, vivid, some excitement, some more relaxing stuff, some music, and some tension and all that. So it played really well. A lot of positive feedback about the construction of the demo script, and not just seeing kind of all the same stuff that we that people see a lot at demos or at shows and stuff like that. And then one of my also driving elements was I wanted to keep it, I wanted to keep it a little less violent or non-violent, my kind of more family friendly. There was one attendee that, because of scheduling and whatnot, had to bring his daughter along, and much younger daughter, and so we weren't sure. Okay, was she gonna come in? Is she gonna watch the demo? Is she not? And then there were a couple wives and stuff here as well. So just in case, or just even personal taste. I stayed away from any kind of extreme violent kind of stuff, because at one point I did actually consider the the Infinite Deadpool's fight sequence from Deadpool and Wolverine, where they basically slaughter all the Deadpools through the bus, because that has the Madonna song, and I wanted to get the music in there, and I was considering that for the third piece of the script, and it's like, wait, no, this is too much. This is kind of intense, and not everybody might dig this. Dig the violence of this, so I can get what I'm looking for from A Star Is Born much better. So that all went over quite well. So as people were coming in, we had name tags and stuff like that, because I had people here from a lot of different perspectives, and different dimensions of life where I interact with folks. And then I had people kind of sign in on a sign up sheet, and I had it all numbered. So as people came in, put your name on the sheet, and then I'll take everybody five at a time. I got 5 seats, and I didn't want anybody standing. I wanted everybody getting the impactful experience of sitting in the chair, reclining, sitting back for 20 minutes, and just being focused on the information, on the material that was being presented to them. So, so I brought 5 people. I brought the first 5 in as folks were arriving. I was able to stay down here. I kind of gave a little bit of a spiel about, okay, here's all the equipment, here's some of the details and the structure of what you're listening to, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, and how the system is working together. How's it calibrated? What are all the things that kind of went into the setup of the room and that stuff, the gear stack, and so on. Then we played the demo, and then kind of sat in here for a few minutes after people had questions and comments and stuff like that. Then I kind of took the group around the corner into the other room, the storage room, where we stood in front of the rack for a few minutes and kind of gave people the chance to explore that and ask questions and dialogue a little bit. And then kind of took that group upstairs so they could grab some food, refreshments, mingle, and hang out and whatnot, and then bring the next 5 down. So we ended up doing, of course, with about 20 people, 5 seats. We did the formal demo, like show script, like 4 times to get everybody through. Um, and then we spent some additional time as well. Later on, we came back down. Different people asked for some specific requests, so I met those requests. Some folks were really interested to see, like, oh, can we see the motion AI? Can we see the Mad VR? Can we turn motion AI on and off? That's always a popular thing to do at the get-togethers and stuff here, the ones that I've had in the past, because nominally speaking, I run with motion AI turned on up to balanced level all the time. I really like it, and it's always interesting that, to show people a bunch of video content, especially folks that may be like video purists, or somebody may have a perspective that, oh, I don't like motion compensation and soap opera effect and stuff like that, and then they watch the sequence and they're like, wow, that was awesome. That was like the best video, some of the best video presentation and quality that I've seen in a home theater setup. It's like, you just watched that whole thing with motion AI turned on and you really liked it. Well, let me turn it off and let me show you what happens, then. So we did some of that. I wanted to try to split some time as well. We just did all the living room stuff, and I wanted to try to split some time and do a bit more of a showcase upstairs, but we literally just never got to it. I had a movie playing up there from the very beginning. I think I played Fantastic Four. So I just turned it on and let it play. So it was kind of playing in the room. People, the way our house is structured, it's this open concept thing. So the living room is there, the dining room with the big table and seating for like 8 people. And then the kitchen with the big island and stuff, that's where the food was. So people were in the kitchen area, people were in the dining room area, people were mingling and sitting on the couches and stuff in the living room. So that movie was on at a reasonable enough volume that if you went into the living room and you were listening to it, you would be able to hear it, but the sound of people talking and stuff drowned it out. And then I didn't want to end up competing, running both rooms loud and having the rooms compete with each other or kind of take away from each other as well. So we ran that movie just kind of very passively for the couple of hours that it played. It played all the way through to the end. And then I had asked my son, I'm like, hey, when later on, or he was at his coding class and stuff. I'm like, after you get home and after everybody's kind of got set up with the food and the food is all good, play some Mario Kart or play some video games and stuff in the living room. Give people something to kind of walk in there and take a look at, or hey, grab a controller if you want, play a game of Mario Kart. And I don't think anybody actually ever did kind of grab a controller and join in. But my kids were playing some video games and people were watching them, so it gave a little bit more of another kind of demo piece. But we never actually, I never was able to make it back to the living room. All this work, all this effort, I wanted to really showcase the living room. Of course, people are really interested in the theater. Um, I was hoping to get into the living room, give a little bit of a talk, kind of similarly about kind of what had recently gone on there, the work that we had done and the equipment that was running in there, and then really crank that up and showcase that too. But just, I mean, 4 hours went by pretty much like a snap, and a lot of the focus and attention was down here. So it's the way it goes. I'll continue to try to revise the format and think about how to structure things and split time between the rooms. I thought maybe as well that we would end up needing to like turn this room off for a little while if it started getting a little warm in here. Projector running for 3 hours or so straight, doors closed, bodies and stuff. But it never really got. It never really had to. It was running fine. The fan didn't really kick up any more than it would normally, and that all worked out without a problem. So never did actually have to kind of press the pause button on this room when I thought we might go demo a little bit more in the living room. But that's another reason too why I wanted to have everybody experience the same script sequence, because then the first group kind of came and went, the second group kind of came and went, and then as I brought the third group in, the first group and the second group, those folks were kind of like mingling, right, and being able to talk about what they heard and what they saw and have a kind of fixed experience that everybody shared the same way or equally. And it would make for the I thought it would make for facilitating conversation. But as it was, I think everybody had a great time. The conversation was always popping, people mingling. There was enough people. I like when there's enough people at a party that it's not just like one conversation. There's pockets of conversation, and people are kind of moving around and engaging with folks in different ways. And so we had enough folks to do that. So I think it was successful. I did invite some other business partners as well. Fortunately, most of those couldn't actually make it. I think as we go forward with this idea, this Techthusiasm showcase idea, I do want to try to get maybe some more. Um, Sorry for the camera; it's doing its own thing. I do want to try to get some more like brand representation here for some of the big products that are being shown off and showcased and stuff in the room. Not all of those have like local reps or local folks that are easily accessible in Michigan to be able to come by. We did have the the regional sales manager, the dealer person for the Midwest area and certain territories that I interact with at Kaleidoscape. So he was here. It was fun for him to talk with a bunch of the folks that were Kaleidoscape owners and pick their brains and get some feedback. And they were asking him questions. So he had a good time with that. So what else? Yeah, so it was good. So my plan, my informal plan is that I want to do this probably at least twice a year. Um, if it proves to be fruitful and there's a really like regular flow um, of attendance and whatnot, bringing people in, then I want to just want to keep growing it up. We'll grow up the idea of the Techthusiasm showcase, hopefully continue making it better and better each time, making it more entertaining, a great hangout, a fun experience, a good time, and all that stuff. So nominally speaking, I was thinking towards spring and fall. This was the fall one, so we can do one again in the spring. And I am, of course, contemplating a couple of changes around the system. So certainly, I would imagine over a period of 6 months, there will always be something new, something new to show off, right? Something new or changing in the set. So that alone should keep it interesting and give folks hopefully a reason to wanna come back. So by springtime, we could be looking at the different screen in here and some kind of a little bit different elements in the video chain, potentially some major changes in the audio chain as well. I didn't, of course, get the 90. I really wanted to try to have the 98-inch television in the living room for the showcase as well, but I still haven't been able to accomplish that. So the 83 G2 remains hanging in the living room. I did have, if I would have moved really quick, I probably could have sold that last weekend, but then I would have had no television for the showcase. So unfortunately, because of the timing, I think I actually missed my best opportunity to sell it, and the delay of not being able to have somebody come and get it right away last weekend because I couldn't get a replacement or something else in its place in time for this past Saturday, might have cost me my one solid sales opportunity so far. But I'm getting closer, I think, on that to where I'm just going to go ahead and probably move forward, probably move forward and get the TCL going. I was talking to my distributor today, and they're actually in stock. They were going, I think, close to like a 2 week lead time, but they just warehoused, or they're in the process, I think, eminently of like warehousing 4 of them. It's like, oh man, so I could just grab one, literally have it here in a matter of days and be good to go. And I'm getting real close to doing that. I just need like 1 or 2 things, hopefully this week, to happen, and it'll really enable that to go through. And if need be, then I'll just take the LG down. I'll put it back in the foyer behind the kind of the desk that we have sitting in there right now, so it's protected, and it can sit there until it sells. And I'll just keep ratcheting the price down. I'm down to about $1,500 now, and still hasn't moved yet. So see what happens there. A couple comments to hit here. Lawless. Oh, well, if there were an AVM 100, what features would you like to see in it? Yeah, and Andy's pretty great. What's missing in the AVM? What's missing? I don't even know. I know what I want in an STR. Actually, I think the STR is the first thing that Anthem needs to upgrade. It needs HDMI. It needs the web UI. Needs some like more advanced networking and stuff like the AVMs have. They need to bring some more of the AVM MRX features to the STR. So if anything, I hope that's what they're working on. But to be honest, I don't know. I don't need a whole lot more out of an AVM 100 over what the 90 already does. Feature wise, yeah, I don't know. If anything, yeah, they need an STR hardware revision, and then the rest, I don't know. They could really just continue adding value. Anthem, I think, can just continue adding value in software. It's been a while since we've had a big firmware update or like a big Arc Genesis enhancement come out. So been a while since they did the delay and phase measurement and integration stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Julius asking, were you able to work out a deal with Best Buy as an affiliate? Um, no, Best Buy's been a goofy affiliate. They worked on a third party affiliate platform for a while called Howl. Howl's actually a really nice platform overall. It gives access to quite a lot of really good companies. But what I found now, having been using Howl for, I don't know, about a year and a half, is that companies can sometimes frequently engage and disengage on Howl. Like Target was there and pretty consistent, and then they disappeared and they went and did something else, and then they're back. But Best Buy was on Howl with a really nice affiliate rate, and then they dropped. They went to like this other platform intermittently for a little while, and then now like you have to apply with them discreetly. And so I've actually applied to be a Best Buy affiliate, and I haven't really heard any response back, unfortunately, to my request there. So that's a bit of a bummer. Would put the request out there, if folks are shopping. We got Black Friday coming up. Definitely, please get in touch with me if there's any home theater stuff that I can help you with that you're shopping this week. Otherwise, if you're just kind of generally shopping online, please use the affiliate links. Amazon, Target, Walmart, AudioVice, Crutchfield, Monoprice, eBay. There's a bunch of them. Apparel stores. I've got Home Depot in there even now. Dick's Sporting Goods, Macy's, I think, Kohl's, and so on. So please use them. Have the significant other, spouse, whoever, use them if you would. It would be awesome to see a bunch of affiliate earnings come in because I want to buy this TCL. I really want to buy this TCL. And that would help out a ton to see some revenue. I've spent down my retained earnings lower than I would prefer to do, and so that's holding me back from continuing to spend. So I also bought something else that I had no intention of doing eminently since the last since the last podcast. I'll talk about that in a second. At these other comments, Lawless as well. What percentage of attendees already owned a Kaleidoscape? Already owned? Maybe a third. I think about a third. There's definitely some of the folks that came bought their Kaleidoscapes from me, or had them from longer ago and were like motivated to get them as well. But yeah, I'd say probably about a third. There was a handful of existing Kaleidoscape owners that were in the group there. What is the compelling reason why you want the TCL? Size relative to quality, relative to price. So if I could snap my fingers, what I really would want is a 97-inch LG OLED, but that is nominally speaking a $25,000 television. And that's not in the cards until certain things happen. Certain of those things may be able to happen later into the spring, which is probably still going to be some months away. So the TCL is an awesome, I think the TCL is an awesome stopgap. And I think the quality is there, the size is there, and the price is right. So yeah, don't forget Micro Center. Oh, for the affiliates. Yeah, we'll see. I remember if I looked them up. I need to do that. Saran, welcome, buddy. I'm done with home theater shopping. Yeah, you spent some money. You spent some money already. All right, last question. Oh, I see our guest has arrived as well. Selman Manowar, welcome. Do Kaleidoscape players have tone mapping? I have a projector that supports Dolby Vision, but does not have it. No, they do not provide a tone mapping feature in the Kaleidoscape players. So you would have to get that from your display or from a video processor, MadVR, Lumagen, etc., something like that. So well, here, let's jump in and invite our special guest here, Mr. O.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
So you may know our friend here, I think, is Terminator Juice, usually by his YouTube name. You want to introduce yourself and
yeah. So my YouTube channel is Terminator Juice. It was a gaming specific channel since like the Wii came out in 2007, but a few years, maybe 2020, I decided to start doing home theater content, and that was during COVID. You know, a lot of people, I think, upgraded their home theaters then, and I actually never even watched a single home theater related video on YouTube. You know, at that point, it was Youth Man was the first one I saw on acoustic panels, and I was like, you know what, let me try those. And basically, I just kept going, upgrade my room, making videos. You know, I don't have a huge audience, but you know, just try to be honest, kind of share my stories and give my opinions and stuff. So I'm 47, but I've had a surround sound set up since 95 or 96. I don't remember exactly which year. So I've been doing a long time, but I actually, to be honest with you, it wasn't till really 2020 that I really dove in, got an SPL meter, level matched, did all, you know, the proper stuff finally after all those years. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, and Saturday was fun. Wish I could have stayed longer. But yeah, I was listening to, while I was driving home from work, I was listening to your intro. So yeah. So
what did you think? What was your takeaway from Saturday?
First off, definitely sounded like $100,000 room. Looked good. And sounded. I've been kind of in this mindset for many years that it's like you don't have to spend a ton to have like a great sounding room, and I know, and I still believe that, but there's definitely a step up now. The diminishing returns thing, it's, you know, you have to spend a lot more money to get a more significant noticeable improvement, you know, each time you hit a certain point. But having actually experienced it, because I haven't heard, it was funny because that day I met Joe, who was there, and I saw his room. That was the first time I seen a MadVR, first time I seen an LS 12,000 Epson, and that was the first time I've seen anybody else's theater that I didn't build myself, period. Like I've done 3 rooms for other people over the years. And then I've did my room a few times over, and it was just really cool to see other people's rooms and experience them. So like I said, definitely didn't disappoint. I was kind of, I wouldn't say skeptical, but I was just curious, like, is there really that much of a difference between what I have and what other people have? But I will say those SB17 subs, that's on a different level than what I got. The 3000 series. Yeah. 2 sealed, 2 port in the front, 2 ported in the back. And I thought I had pretty good tactile base, but not even in the same ballpark. So overall, I mean, that part of it was nailed it. And it's funny because I had somebody check out my room 2 years ago. He saw me on YouTube and he wanted to see my room, and he had some, seeing it in person, it was just different. So I got to see your room in person versus seeing it in video, and it is way different. You can't really judge the size. It's hard to get the scale.
Yep.
Like it's just completely different in person. And I didn't realize your ceilings were that high. Like my ceiling's 6'8" to the drop ceiling, so it's really low.
Yep.
And it was just like, wow, this is something. And the amount of acoustic panels you have, I was surprised by, especially the thick ones you have. So that part of it was fine. I do have some thoughts on the idea of new demo scenes versus the old, typical ones. So I'm sick of, like, I never need to see Ready Player One chase scene, car scene ever again. Like I've watched the movie itself like 10 times, and I've watched that scene probably 50 to 100. So for me, I went into this as someone who's looking at upgrading my audio processor, whether an AVR or just a straight preamp. And so I was looking more, I was trying to go with a critical mindset, and having only seen one of the movies, which was A Star Is Born, and I've seen that scene many times in my room.
Yep.
I got caught up in the scenes because I've never seen these movies, so I'm like sucked into the scene. Like I at one point in Fantastic Four, I hadn't even paid attention to the audio. Like I basically I don't even remember one thing about it audio wise. I was just like paying attention to the movie. And I noticed that when I watch movies at my place for the first time. And I think Furiosa was the most recent, where I was like, I don't remember that movie having very good sound. I don't know what Tony from Build Montage was talking about. I think Shane Lee said the same thing. Oh, it's amazing. I'm like, I don't remember thinking the sound was anything standout.
Because you're in the content.
I rewatched it and I'm like, holy crap! Like the bass, the sound, the music. It's phenomenal sound design. So sometimes I would say that would be one drawback to showing things people haven't seen before.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it definitely demonstrated your room, like the new Bad Guys 2. That was the most intense bass, I thought, during the shuttle launch.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, I know what this room's capable of, but at the same time, there was two movies that I was just completely, like the Mission Impossible one, I was sucked into the scene. I wasn't really listening. So I guess that would be one. And there was two guys upstairs that both said they'd never seen any of those 5 movies. So I don't know if that was a negative, positive, or anything. They just said that was just factually what they said. For me, I was like, that's why I wanted to get the Quiet Place demo as well, because I wanted a reference point from my room to your room. And but still, I mean, it makes me want to watch those movies, except Superman. Now I have no interest in that movie. I wasn't really a fan of that scene from its tone but that movie's pretty divisive amongst my friends as well.
For sure. Yeah,
I will say, I don't know what your thoughts are. That's the first thing you showed. I was almost like kind of disappointed in the NZ900 with that movie. Like I'm really? This is the best this thing can do. Well, the next scene was A Star Is Born, and I was blown away. Just absolutely stunned by the image, the brightness, the colors, the contrast.
I think different movies just capture different grain, and the one that I really contemplated putting in there, and I didn't, was Minecraft. To me, like, Minecraft has one of the cleanest transfers.
That's what I've heard.
And you know what? We never did make it back around to throwing a scene from that. We should have come back around to do that. So maybe next time I'll incorporate Minecraft. I didn't want to make it too kiddie focused, so I didn't want to do Bad Guys in Minecraft, but I would still wanted an animation. I wanted at least one piece of animation. And
animated movies usually have really good sound design because they have nothing real to go off of. Everything has to be created. But I don't know if Superman just kind of felt like, I'm just guessing. I don't know if you'd be able to tell much of a difference versus a JVC versus like a mid-tier Epson, because it's just bright, not very contrasty scene.
Yep.
But the rest of the movies, like the Fantastic Four, I couldn't get over like the color of their uniforms, the blue, like how good that looked. Also, I was a bit distracted. I ain't gonna lie. The AI motion had me quite distracted the whole time.
Yep.
I'm kind of a purist with. I don't like video processing. I've never liked the motion stuff on any TV since the LCDs, and I was a little distracted by that. I think that for me, it makes it feel like a behind the scenes documentary, not like it feels like that kind of instead of the actual movie. So that was a little bit distracting for me, but that's just a personal thing. And side note, the Ryan Charpentier, who I buy my gear from, he's the Mad VR guy. He runs it on insane every time, all time. the AI.
A lot of these guys do. Yeah. Yeah. We did that. Yeah. I don't think I could take it to that level. I personally really like, I'm up to balance from cinematic. So cinematic is like level 1, balance is level 3. It's two ticks up from.
I thought cinematic was, I could see that. I don't know how much it wasn't really doing that much compared to the standard, but it did take some of the jitter out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't imagine like the insane, like what is that? Like 120 frames per second kind of equivalent or something.
So, well, they were all running. It was all running 120 FPS anyway. It's just a matter, I think. Well, it's a matter of how. That's a good question. Offhand, I'm not sure the functional difference between the levels and how it equates to like how many frames may be being generated versus.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, I'm either drawing a blank or I don't remember if because I can say it is outputting. It is outputting 120. That was one.
I know. I saw that in the menu there. But it's like it's not. It doesn't make it look bad. It looks super clean, like sharp. Yeah. Like it's literally. I was telling my our site leader at work. He's kind of into audio and stuff, and he's from the UK. And I said, it's literally the best image I've ever seen. Like, I think anywhere on a big screen. Like, I'd say the IMAX, the Grand Rapids IMAX has the actual 1570, whatever, the actual film projector with Oppenheimer. I mean, it wasn't that clean of an image and just immersive, but I'd say next to that, it's the cleanest I've ever seen for anything. Like, yeah, OLEDs look great. Well, even on an 83-inch TV, yeah, it looks really clean. I wouldn't even consider an OLED over what you were getting with that JVC. Like,
yeah, for cinematic presence, yeah,
it's just crystal clear, bright, and that was my first. Like earlier in the day, I got to experience the Mad VR on an LS12000 Epson, and I was blown away by the HDR on that. Because my JVC, I got the MP5, and I chose low noise floor over the brightest image. So I run the lamp on low, so I'm only getting like 49 nits, I think, on my screen.
Yep.
Maybe even lower 40s. And I mean, it looks fine when when you get used to what you have after.
Yes, 100%. Yep.
I came home. It's a 3-hour drive from your house back to getting pulling into my house, and within 20 minutes, I had Dune Part 2 booted up. Even I'm mad I didn't think to watch that at your house.
Oh, we didn't do a Dune scene. That's right.
I imagine the sandworm scene's got to be, that couch has to be shaking pretty good. Like that's the most tactile base I experience in my room. But I was just like, yeah, it doesn't have that pop of that brightness. It's not that. My viewing angle is like 40 degrees. And yours is, I think you said 50.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't calculated that since I changed the screen. I'm not sure. 150 inches wide from 13.5 feet. Somebody in the chat wants to do the math.
Joe's watching. He did mine for me. It honestly, it felt closer. I know your screen's huge, but it didn't feel like 13. It felt closer to me. Like, I don't know. So that's the biggest viewing angle I've ever experienced. I did feel a little bit of motion sickness, but I kind of think it was the AI motion more than, because there wasn't any like shaky cam stuff going on. I think I think like Hunger Games might actually make me sick though on that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm susceptible to motion sickness. So that's why I initially didn't go with a big screen in my theater room years ago, because I was worried that would kick in, because sometimes at the movie theater I'd get it.
Interesting. Yeah, that hits me sometimes in general. Like I can't ride carnival rides and stuff like that anymore, but it's rare that I feel that from like screen.
I don't anymore, but I did show a Top Gun Maverick demo to my sister, since I got 120 and a half, but 120-inch 16:9 screen 11 feet away. And that's the IMAX shots. It's, what is it, 1.9, I think, when it switches to the, and she did get motion sickness and I didn't. So
yeah, Stern's asking if we used Top Gun Maverick as a demo. I think we played the scene once.
Must have been after I left.
Yeah. Or I had a different set of folks in, but I remember we played the mission. I'm pretty sure we played the mission. Somebody wanted to see the mission sequence, so we ended up playing that. I didn't have it in the script though. Again, I was trying to go for stuff that was, like not the everyday. I did have another script that had that other stuff in it, ready to play. It had Ready Player One. It had, I think I had Top Gun in it. It had a John Wick scene in it. It had like a lot more of the kind of the regular demo stuff.
Yeah,
people go for.
I think for me, Gran Turismo is one of the best, I think, just all around audio sequences. The first major race in that movie.
Okay.
It's got bass. It's got great like sounds, like dirt and stuff going through from speakers overhead. It cuts to shots of like the engine, and you hear the sounds of like the engine above you.
Gotcha.
And it's only maybe a 3-minute scene, but I think, to me, I don't really hear anybody talk about that movie. And
I had a pre-request for F1. I think the very beginning.
I would have liked to see that.
The very beginning, where like Brad, I don't remember where I just saw that. It must have been Brian, who was here, had an event a couple weekends ago. I think it was at his place that we played that, because I know I just saw it in a home theater setting recently. It had to be there, where Brad Pitt's walking through. There's like the fireworks, and there he gets into his leg of the race to begin with. But I don't have it. I didn't have that on my Kaleidoscape. I was gonna pick it up, but it's like $35. And I just had a hard time. I had a hard time partying with that $35. I'm like, especially.
Yeah, I've heard
Black Friday.
It seems like people are kind of like disappointed mainly in the lack of like use of like dynamic Atmos effects for like wind noise and stuff. But I do feel like the Trinoff viewer, kind of, people get lost in that. They get to, like, no shade, but I feel like seeing what it's doing versus just listening to it, I think maybe not seeing the dynamic balls moving around maybe affects people's judgment a little bit of the actual review. Just listen to it, watch the viewer later. But somebody did ask what equipment I have. I have a few photos. I don't know, can I share? I got
you should be able to do it's the plus with the screen in it. Should give you the option to
video file share screen right there. Yep. I want to share the other screen. It's only let me show one screen. Oh, there we go. So I have Focal 300 series speakers, and I got the LCR version, the big ones. So you had the 1000s before, so I think the 300s are the next step down.
Correct. Yep. 300 is the line below the 1000s. They don't have a Utopia-ish model in the 300s.
No, and
it's the equivalent of what's right behind me here in the 1000 series. These are great speakers. I think that the flax cones and the combo of these.
I did have an issue though. Once I put them in my wall, I had some major resonance at 80 hertz. I had to EQ out the best I could with my Yamaha. That's why I was kind of thinking I wanted to go to Anthem or something that can give me more flexibility.
Gotcha.
So let's see. That was my old scope screen. I had a 114-inch scope screen. Am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. I have some newer photos. I believe the other way.
You just went back to 16:9 recently, right?
Yep. Actually, I think it's not going in the order they were on my previous screen, but yeah, I have one of the back of my room, or there's the side. So I built these wood columns to house, because I couldn't mount my speakers in the walls. I could in the back, but I couldn't in the sides. So I built these columns to house, and my room's only 10'10" wide, but between these columns, it's only a 10'2". So I'm very limited on my couch. So this is a Bob's Discount Furniture, basically Valencia knockoff of their old style 3-seat couch. But I did everything myself. This is the back of the room. My projector's in the room I'm sitting in right now. There's a little, I don't have glass. I tried some glass. It didn't really kill the noise as much as I thought. And just got covered in lint or dust and stuff. So I just ended up removing it.
Yeah, it's constantly blowing out. They all blow out the front. So
yeah, does your, I know they were talking about having some exhaust out the back. I don't know if that's your series or not.
No, I think all of these NZs are the same. They pull in the back and they blow out the front. Yeah.
So my rack's pretty tame. I got a Yamaha. It's running my bed layer right now, and then I have two of these just 50-watt Niles amps running my heights, and then this is before I added my Z2 player, but like I got room to expand for sure. So I'm thinking of adding an amp to power my LCR for now, and then get another 8-channel amp for the surrounds. And my speakers, I didn't finish my dimensions, but my room's 17'10" long, 10-foot wide, but my ceiling height's 6'8". So all 8 of my surround speakers are within between 5 and 4 feet from my ear. So that means that really, I calculated, I really only need about 20 to 50 watts to hit reference if I wanted to, at the distance I am from my speakers. So how do I unshare? There we go. Stop share. So I don't really need a lot of power because my speakers are so close.
Yeah, intimate room. Actually, Talipo mentioned here, if the 500 and 700 pull from the front and exhaust in the rear. Interesting.
Yeah, I knew they did have some that did the rear exhaust, which, I mean, if you're buying an NZ 800 or 900, you're probably going to have, I'm not saying everybody, most people are going to have a designed room where they're not pushing that projector against the back of the wall. I think that was their thinking, that some people have to push the projector like at the very back of their wall. They don't want the exhaust blowing out that way. But I mean, if you're spending 30 grand on an NZ 900, I feel like you probably have a decent setup where you're not going to have to butt the projector against the wall. I don't know, that's just my thought. I figure somebody spending that money, they probably have like a pretty good room to put it in.
Yeah. I need to make the call. I was talking to some folks on Saturday actually about, and the name keeps escaping me, but there's the guy making the rounds, I think in a lot of discussion lately, that he does like the custom hush boxes and all that stuff. So I might look into seeing if there's some way to close this up a little bit behind me and cut some of that noise down. That would bring my noise floor down. Not that I don't think it's audible, but it's not crazy loud, but still.
I will say that's the one area my room's got you. My noise floor is significantly quieter. If I ran my lamp on high, I'd be about at the same fan noise that you have in your room.
Yeah, this is it. Mike Franks, that's the guy. He did some work for some other folks that I'm familiar with or friends with, and I'm contemplating just making a call to him and seeing, hey, if what do you think we could do with this setup in order to keep it cool in that closet, but close it up or keep it
yeah quiet. Actually, I don't know if I have a photo. My HVAC unit's just right on the other side of where my projector is, so I just ran a flexible tubing to the air return, and I just got I made a wedge, a longer like vent, and just stuffed it in there with some foam and just so it sits right at the exhaust on the lamp side. And I have it on I can turn it on or off depending on the time of year. I leave it on all the time in the summer. So that pulls all the hot air out. And so if I wanted to run the lamp on high, I could. But yeah, I don't know. The hush box thing to me kind of scares me because it does put out a lot of heat. And
yeah, as long as it's managed. I should have some options to be able to do something as well, because technically, if you remember the soffit that's up here behind me, it's in the room, but the closet goes up. The closet goes up into the like in between the floors, because technically up above that closet on our main floor, that was where our fireplace is.
okay.
And so there's a big cavity that would actually extends vertically up from the door. And so we would, and then the soffit is open into the mech room to the side, which is where our HVAC actually is.
You probably
So
only need
if
some
I were,
4-inch flex hose just to kind of get into there.
yeah, we
Pull it
could
up.
easily come down the soffit and then in through the wall into the closet and be able to close the closet up and be able to manage air flow. Yeah, it's something to look at. I wonder what it might cost to do something engineered and kind of purpose specific. That would buy me a lot of time, because it. Another thing I was talking with folks a bunch on Saturday is like in like a 3-year plan. I would really, and I've talked about this I think on the channel before. I would really like to almost kind of deconstruct and reconstruct the whole room and really make it engineered, the whole room engineered for this purpose. Excuse me, redo the drywall, get the speakers out of the wall, kind of like how you did, right? Where all of your in walls are in columns, everything's in the room. So you're in the pocket of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Really work on a little bit better sound management, isolation from the mechanical room over on the side, get this soffit really fully noise isolated. And
I'd say your door would be a
the door.
priority.
Yep. Yeah. I would move the door over and we would move from this just double. This door had never any intention of doing the work that it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we do a real acoustic door, and then I would be able to put the projector in the storage room, and like you have it, it'd be in the other room and kind of shoot through to get to the screen on this side.
And there is a company that makes they're basically specialized in making port holes for projectors, and you can get it custom made. I almost bought one, but I had more limited height than I really wanted. I would have had them do a custom one, but it wasn't that bad a price. I'm not sure, I don't know about their quality or the ratings, but it did exist. I was surprised that there was a company that specialized in that. And that way you would completely block it off.
Yeah, but if I could spend a grand, or I don't know, maybe even a grand or two, and eliminate the noise of this projector for the next few years until we really go forward,
I think it'd be worth it.
Probably would be. And I even in the interim as well, I probably should try to do something more with these doors, even if we stick with the double door.
I had a thought about that. I think what was making the noise, isn't it like the latch, the latch of the handle, the two doors connected? I feel like that's what was rattling, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, I need to hit it. That not Top Gun, I'm thinking Tom Cruise.
It was the Tom Cruise, yeah.
The Mission Impossible scene really hits the door. I don't know what frequency that is, but that scene really rumbles the door more than I've heard most any other scene hit it. So I've been intending to anyway, kind of as a follow up to, now that I know I can play that scene kind of over and over again and really kind of stand around and hold it. But I was, after the first group came through, it might have been either the second or even the third one.
It was my group. You came down just in time to hold the door.
Yeah, I was holding the door. I was leaning against the inside of the door to kind of lock it down. So whatever that was pushing on. But these doors don't latch to each other. They have like what they call it, like a ball latch or something.
Oh, do they? Okay.
So they're kind of loose in the frame, and I think that's what rumbles. If the door really starts to move, the ball latch and stuff is hitting. But I did a long time ago, like the inside face of the door jamb, I have some foam padding and stuff in there. It's possible that might have just like compressed
probably
over years, and some thicker foam padding could go a long way.
I had to do that because the little bit of play when you just shut a door naturally with whatever the little latch, whatever goes in the hole, whatever that's specifically called. And I put foam, but now it's like it has to have pressure, so I have
Yeah.
to like kind of tug my door shut to get that
Yep.
extra, make sure it's latched fully, which is a little bit of a pain. But I did see a home theater tour a couple years ago that Build Montage did. A guy had like he just had a bar on his, and then it was a spring mechanism that shut that. I mean, it shut it tight,
Mhm.
and it just held the door. Obviously, he probably had, I'm guessing, he had rubber or foam around it, and it would just
Mhm.
shut, and it was solid.
Yep.
And having a solid heavy door probably helps. I'm not sure, yours probably are solid, I'm guessing,
Yeah,
but
it's maple, solid maple, and then it has the glass panels in it, which I just have covered up from the back. Probably the thing that I probably the easiest thing that I probably need to do is just put the stripping on the top of the door. I think that would probably be that may be the spot that I need to hit, and can get me a good part of the way there. But that's definitely now on my project list, particularly after realizing how much that scene.
you know what movie gets my room going is not, I mean, the opening, of course, of Blade Runner 2049, but there's a lot of just random bass hits in that movie where it's quiet.
Okay.
Most every, like,
Yep.
especially when it goes to Vegas, and just a bass will hit, and it's just like I got a drop ceiling, and there's always something that every time I fix something, something else comes up, and it's like I have an idea for a solution in the years to come, but in the meantime, it's just got to live with it. And
Yep.
the best movies are the ones that are just loud out everywhere, so you
Yeah,
can't hear those
those are all
rattles. But I will say, I didn't mention this earlier. I think I've never listened to any movie that loud in a home setting before, but it didn't cause any ear discomfort. I wasn't like cringing, or my ears weren't ringing. It was louder than I would probably watch a movie. I'd probably go
Yes.
negative 25 would probably
Yep.
be the range, but it was also clear. It was the bass and the highs didn't overshadow. I will say, just like every room I've ever done, that room, the louder you get, I feel like the less you can define like your heights and your surrounds. Everything kind of hits you all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like the Quiet Place demo, because it's very discreet.
Gotcha.
It's
Yep.
quiet, but you hear the thing walking above, the footsteps. You hear the little details, and that's a favorite of mine just for that reason.
Yeah, a number of folks gave that similar feedback, and I think a lot of that is on the Anthem, because I think I have a stack of equipment that individually may have certain reputations of being bright.
I thought
Or
it was just a tinge bright for my personal taste, but I figure that's a sacrifice for having to, no distortion
yeah,
at that volume. I've never heard JTRs. I've never heard what others has like a horn style.
hmm
I've never heard any of the supposed, bright speakers before. I've always had like a soft dome style tweeter.
okay,
And so that's what I'm used to, but those really can't handle reference. So if you really want reference, you can't. Or if you have your speakers super far away,
yeah,
you
you
run
need
into
that.
problems.
Yep. Yeah, I should have
But
mentioned earlier. I ran all the demos at -20 on the Anthem, and Friday night when I was building the script down here, I played at that volume with my SPL meter. Or actually, I was using an SPL meter app just on my phone, and over a period of a few of those demos, it was coming out to about 95 dB, with like I think 105 in some of the peaks. Um, some of the softer scenes, at -20, it was down to like maybe 70 dB, but average wise, it was about 95. But I found that when folks demo, most folks do want to hear it a little louder, and there's some folks in the usual group that really listen at loud volumes. Like, I've been at some demo experiences where I'm like this, and I'm like, I'm okay cutting some of the volume off going into my ears for the duration of this, because it's too loud for me. But I would say normally when we watch a movie family wise, or even by myself, I'm probably the same. I'm like minus on the Anthem scale. Probably rare that I'm any louder than -25. Probably a lot of the time like even 28ish. We watched a movie last night, Indiana Jones. We started Indiana Jones with the kids, so we did Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think I was at -27 for most of that.
yeah, I watched after went down there and you handed me the remote. I forget the guy from Germany. I forget his name. Apologize.
Oh yeah, Michael.
We watched the Dark Knight opening sequence.
Okay.
And again, like I thought, I have the 4K set, and I was mad that I spent the money upgrading because I didn't think the 4K versions looked that good. But this was before my projector got fixed. And my projector had an HDMI issue, but it also had a bad optical unit, and I wasn't actually getting full resolution. They didn't tell me exactly what was wrong, but when I got it back, I just noticed immediately the menus just look so sharp. So then I started watching The Terminator. That was the first movie I watched on 4. I never seen it on 4K. And I'm like, this movie looks incredible. What's going on? And then my projector, I can actually tell the difference between 4K now. And I forget where I was going with that story, but
the Dark Knight presentation.
Oh yeah, so I was surprised how good the Dark Knight looked on your setup. Like it looked phenomenally crisp. Obviously, I don't have a Mad VR. JVC does all right, but I think the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight the HDR is not very good on the JVC. It's not quite Harry Potter, Goblet of Fire bad, but there's a couple shots in the Dark Knight first two movies where the JVC tone mapping just doesn't look good. But anyway, watch those at -30, and I was like, yeah, this is a little quiet probably for me, watch what I would watch, but it was closer to what the volume I would use versus the -20.
Just double checking as well. I think that's a bigger download. Yeah, it's an 80 plus gigabyte download on Kaleidoscape.
And I was also, I didn't get to talk to you about some stuff, but one of the things I was going to say is like, you're thinking of going to a taller screen. Well, those IMAX switching movies, unless you can get the option on Kaleidoscape, they were all scope only.
Yeah. Some of the newer titles that are aspect switching, I think like Top Gun, do it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, it's just the masters that the studios gave them. Some of the older films that do some of the aspect ratio switching, like Dark Knight, I think on Kaleidoscape they don't. So it's just a matter of what assets they happen to have.
I mean, I had a scope screen for, I forget if it was 2 years, and I definitely favored scope ratio stuff. I get why people with scope screens don't like the switching aspect ratio, but with a 16:9 screen, I do like it. I was just looking to my Dark Knight, my rip from the disc is only 56 gigs, but the Dark Knight Rises is 70. So I don't think that's much. I don't know if that's that much longer.
Let me see. Rises on Kaleidoscape is almost 90.
Okay. And I don't know if that includes any extra audio. I only have the main audio track on my rips. I didn't do the full disc rip. I just did the movie, the best audio, and the subtitles.
It's English, only English. The HD download has French, Spanish, Portuguese, but the 4K is English only. Yeah.
And there's a question I was going to talk about that. Yeah, Anthem scale is way different.
It is.
Like that -20. I would guess it would be closer to -10 to -8 on my Yamaha.
Yeah. And I think that's the same with Denon as well. Yeah, -20 is not 20 below reference for sure on Anthem. They have for whatever reason, they have a different volume scale.
I watched your video on the arc you did with I forget what if he was from Anthem or just a guy, or his Audio Vice.
Yep, Audio Vice, yep.
And you guys didn't, like, afterwards, you didn't mess with the levels, but the Home Theater Gurus, he does go in and readjust to 75 dB at the end, but it seems like that would mess with the arc calibration if you mess the levels afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of I think there's a lot of opinions around about, and I think a lot of people like to tweak. I really need to get set up. That's another thing on my list, is just get a mic and get set up with REW and be able to measure outside of Anthem's environment to kind of cross validate and stuff what I'm getting. I have seen that mentioned quite a few, or in some places, that people say, yeah, after you're done with Genesis, to do a measurement and then readjust your levels yourself. So I can say I didn't do that. So whatever levels ARC said is what the system is playing.
And it's just once you get used to that volume, it's like it's just hard to like tell somebody hey, what'd you listen to that at? What do you listen? Because I have a friend who's got a Denon, and my SPL meter might be one or 2 dB different than his. You never know.
Yep.
And he's like, "What did you watch it at?" I go, "It doesn't matter because we don't know. I haven't heard your room to know if they're similar or not. Most movies I watch now are around -15, -16, and that's pretty loud. But some I got to go to negative, like Jurassic Park 4K. I go to -12 on that one, and
yeah, the mix can make a difference as well, for sure.
And then like K-pop Demon Hunters, I got let's just say a version of that, not from Netflix, and I had to run that at -8 to sound good. But that's a lot of Netflix stuff. I do have to go louder.
Yeah, that's streaming too. Like a lot of times, a lot of people when they're comparing audio of like streaming versus disc, I found you should add at least 6 dB to the stream to try to get to the same dynamics. Like a lot of times, if you're really thinking the streaming audio is really subpar, turn it up a bit because it's not level matched.
How do you feel about that? Because I know this guy I mentioned earlier, he thinks it's like a bad thing that he has to go to like -13 to get dynamics. But I almost feel like once you get it there, I feel like it's got a bigger dynamic range. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
I'd rather have that than have to like have it down to -19 or 18 because everything's just so loud.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's encoded or it's balanced for what it is. So if it requires a little more volume to get to the same presentation, I don't know. It doesn't bug me. I would just turn it up a little bit more.
Yeah, there's definitely the few Warner Brothers, like the Kong movies, Blade Runner, where I barely can go below -18, and it's like pushing.
It's too much. Yeah.
System. So it's just one of those things. That's why I think somebody had a guy in that said he doesn't like to have the volume on his screen. It says it's like I need it because I want to know.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I'm too much of a data person, an engineer. I want to know as well. In the living room, I don't have a volume display because I don't have any HDMI connection between the preamp and the television, and sometimes it drives me nuts. The Control 4 remote does give me a volume scale, but it's like it'll be like -80 on the Anthem, or on the Control 4 remote corresponds to like -10 on the STR. So, and it goes in half decibel clicks. So like -100 is reference, but it's like the math is screwed up. So I wish I could adjust the volume scale in Control 4 to actually match the volume scale on the thing, and then it would show me there. So if I ever want to try to figure out where am I at volume wise on the STR, I have to do the math in my head, and I don't bother. So but it's a different experience. Like when I watch stuff down here and I change the volume, I pay attention to the number, and I adjust to the number, whereas upstairs I just adjust until it sounds reasonable for whatever it is I'm trying to achieve. If I want it loud, or I want it quieter, or I want to listen to it, but I'm the only one watching and somebody else is doing something else. So, but yeah, I'm a data person. I like numbers.
I actually have a sheet with volumes from the movies I know I'm going to be rewatching, but it changes though. I didn't even change any. I added a 4 subwoofer late last year, and I found, well, all my other 3 subwoofers, I was able to turn their volumes down to get the same bass. But then I was like, I've been going up and up. That's the thing about experiencing like your room, or the equivalent to that was seeing Dune Part 2 in a fresh Dolby Atmos theater in Grand Rapids, where they had it at reference. I guarantee it was reference. That's the most intense audio I've ever experienced. It was almost unbearable at times, but I got to tell you, when I got home, I've watched Dune Part 1 and 2 louder because of that experience. I went at least 2 louder than I ever did on Dune Part 1. And I was like, well, it pushed me to get close. I didn't want to be at that level, but it pushed me to go a little bit louder and get more tactile feedback from my subs. And gotcha. Sometimes, even though it's a bit extreme, it did kind of push me to go a little louder. Same with your room.
Yeah. Just ready to add a comment here as well. Find -24 in my Anthem is quite loud. Yeah, when I had the 1140, -20 was quite loud. I don't know if there's maybe.
And I think Youthman said the same thing. His is like -20. He is like loud with his.
Yeah, he's got the 70. technically, I wouldn't think there's too much variation between the models in the line of the scale, but who knows? There may be some slight voltage, like output differences that interact with the amps.
Yeah, and I guess it will. Yeah, if you got different amps and different speakers, I guess because it's doing arc is still calibrating, maybe it ends in the same spot for everybody. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're at 6:15. Family's waiting for dinner. Any other thoughts or?
I just want to say, trying to think of words to describe the bass, and I would say controlled violence would probably be the best way to describe it. I was not prepared. I know SVS subs are good. I've ever since I've had the PB1000, I was impressed, and I didn't think there was any way they were sealed either. I thought they had to be the ported version. Blown away. Probably more bass than I would normally do, but it was almost more tactile than it was audio wise. It's hard to describe. I tried to describe it to somebody. It's like it sounded completely different than my 13-inch, the 3000 series subs. It didn't even sound like the same, like, and I didn't, I watched a few movies that I was familiar with, but it's just, it hits you like physically way more than I've ever thought.
Yeah. I wonder a lot about subs because like people go nuts with, size and all this stuff and 24s. It's like, I can't even imagine if I had 24s or 32s or 21s, I would just be turning them down so much. The volume scale wise, these are at like -12, -13. So like these subs as is have a ton of headroom and they're already making what they're making. I think this room benefits from some just lucky logistics of the way I think the bass carries through the floating floor. We have the floating wood floor.
Oh, you have a floating floor.
Yep. And I think that really brings that energy to the seats. It cracks me up always when people, inevitably every time somebody asks if there's shakers, it's like, no shakers. don't need them, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, I said that about 10-inch speakers before. Like, I don't know why I need what a bigger woofer is going to do, but going to the 13-inch woofers, it was an improvement. There's got to be some kind of line where it's like, but also I run mine at like -18, -20, and I feel like I didn't feel like I had that much headroom, but I guess I probably do. But overall, it's just like NZ900 first experience with the lens, with the Mad VR. I mean, it's a lot of money, but I can't say that it doesn't deliver on the performance side of things. I don't know what the next step up is.
It's like Barco Christie and GTZ 380.
But those, I mean, those gives you more brightness, but the native contrast is only what 5,000 to 1 best case scenario, I think, with the Christie. But it's just really bright, made for big screens. So yeah, it's a ton of money. I don't think I would need a 900 with my 120-inch 16:9 screen to achieve. I'd probably have to have the lamp set pretty low, I think. I don't know. But overall, it was a great experience, and appreciate you for inviting me, and great host. Your family seems great.
Thank you.
Good time. I didn't have much time to mingle. Like we were talking about just random things. I did one suggestion just about the event. Maybe have like, I know this might be corny, but just like get everybody together and just be like, hey, what audio processor do you have or something, just to get
a round table it.
Yeah. Just everybody say what they have, because I'm curious. I've only had Yamaha and Onkyo basically my entire life. So
that's a good idea. It's a good idea. Kind of like get an icebreaker for the group type thing.
I know I messaged, I was on the forum, not a forum, it was a Facebook post, the Youth Man's Facebook group years ago. And I said I had a Yamaha, and I got attacked by one guy, just you got upgrade. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You got to get an Anthem, and stuff like that. But I feel like in that setting, that wouldn't happen. It might be some jesting or some joking around, but yeah. Other than that, I really enjoyed. Just wish could have stayed longer. I was kind of reliant. Other person drove, so I was kind of out of my hands. I would have loved to play some Mario Kart. Show your kids how to play.
Yeah, I was saying that earlier. You were saying that earlier. I'm almost at the point where most of the time I still school him, but my son will have the occasional race where he pulls ahead of me. The son is surpassing the father, but yeah, we didn't really get. I wanted to do, like I was saying earlier, I wanted to do more with the living room. I just went through all the stuff in the living room, but the focusing, getting the people through, doing the demo, talking, we never really got to it. So next
I was
time,
actually impressed by your comics and your Lego sets more than because I have a 77-inch OLED, so I know I don't even think you really need to go bigger, to be quite honest. I think that TV looked plenty big in that setting, but
it's nice, but yeah,
um,
we're going
I've
big.
already seen an OLED. I've had OLED since 2019,
Yeah.
so for me, I know you put those nice speakers in and stuff, but got to hear them downstairs, so.
Right.
And it never goes according to plan. Trust me, I've tried to make plans for stuff, having people over. No,
Yeah.
it's hard enough just to get people to come down into my room. None of my family or friends care.
They're not into it. Yeah.
Dragged my mom down yesterday to make her watch the end of Dirty Dancing in my theater room. That's one of her favorite movies.
Yes.
She used to watch it once a week when I was living with my parents when I was a kid. I had to watch that movie all the time.
Okay.
And she really liked it, so it was cool.
Yeah, I'll continue to evolve the format. So like my goal is at least 2 of these a year. I want to do a spring and a fall. If things are changing and there's and it works, I'll consider doing more. But minimum spring fall. And with the other stuff that I've got pending, there should be some cool things happening between now and spring. But I definitely want to keep kind of working on the format of the event and add to it and make it fun and really make it really make it into a thing anyway.
Yeah, because I know we gotta get out of here, but no one really talked after the demo. Like I wanted to share thoughts with people, but I know some had already seen your room. There's one guy in with me. He doesn't sound like he even has a home theater. He's like at the very beginning stages. He was asking questions.
Yep, there were
And then the other guy, his daughter was kind of distracting him and stuff. So I talked to Michael. We chatted quite a bit when we were down there, and but overall, it's great. You know, I'd love to experience it again. So
yeah, we'll do more for sure. We'll do more.
I definitely want to. I'm inspired to potentially do upgrading in the next year or two. I don't know if I'd go for the audio or video. I might lean towards the video side of things after seeing your setup. So that's the positive and a negative of seeing somebody else's room is maybe.
Yep, it hits the the bug, the itch starts to come in. What can I do? Yeah, even every place I go to experience, there's always an idea or a spark of something. It's like, how does that apply to what I've got, or a tweak or an adjustment, some stuff like that. So yeah, it never ends. That's the nature of the hobby. But
yeah, but I do agree, or I do like that you watch movies. I don't watch as many movies as I would like, but you watch movies, movies. You're not just the guy who likes gear, who has a home theater channel and doesn't watch movies. So I really appreciate that. You watch more movies than I do. I think, well, maybe more new movies. I usually wait to watch the new movies when they're on sale because I still buy physical.
But, it ebbs and flows. I'm hoping through the summer, definitely not as much content through the summer, but now that we're kind of getting into the holidays and in the colder weather and stuff here, we'll pick up. There's a lot of like classic series I really want to go through with my kids. So we've kind of like partially started a bunch of them. Now we just started Indiana Jones. Like we've only watched the first Ghostbusters around Halloween. I was hoping maybe around Halloween we would crank the whole series out, but we only got through the first one. They've been reading Lord of the Rings in their school curriculums and stuff. So we've got all of those movies kind of waiting.
Yeah, you got a lot. If they haven't seen those, that's I think they still hold up. I know somebody who recently watched them. Didn't love them as much as us. He's young, 25-year-old. He thinks the Planet of the Apes trilogy, the new trilogy, is better than Lord of the Rings. I wanted to slap him. It's not even close.
It was funny watching Raiders last night. Like it's been a long time since I've sat down and watched that, and it definitely has some. There's a couple of corny, just sequences to it, but it's like I got to respect, and we'll probably talk about this when I go up and have dinner. Like some of the sequences, like just kind of how like groundbreaking, like how much other like grand adventuredom came from that movie that we're familiar with and stuff. now, so it's kind of the fun of it in retrospect. But they usually deride me, because there's definitely been some cases where it's like, oh, this movie, yeah, like Dark Crystal or whatever, we got to watch this, like it's so good. Or it's like, oh my god, that was terrible, and I'm sorry that I subjected you to that.
Yeah,
That should have stayed in the nostalgia bin. In retrospect,
that hit me with Spaceballs a couple years ago.
Okay,
I didn't laugh one time. I was like, I thought
really
this movie was
nowadays.
hilarious.
Oh, so
But
I have a lot of, yeah.
I thought Willow still I just watched Willow.
Mm.
That still holds up in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that's like a good warm up to the Lord of the Rings. That's a really good fantasy movie with great sets and fun, action sequences and lighthearted. It's PG, I believe.
Mm-hmm,
I doubt it's G. I think it's PG. That one really held up. I was surprised how much I like that watching it now, but all right.
Cool. All right. So we'll end it here. Thanks everybody for coming out. Thanks for joining in and sharing. So next week, I definitely have more to talk about coming up. I am upgrading my Kaleidoscape server. So there's a 48 terabyte on its way. So we'll be talking about that. I installed the Tableau over this last weekend. I got that finally set up and running. So there's content queued and coming for the week, and keep kind of going from there. Anything you want to kind of plug again on your channel?
I've been actually uploaded like 4 videos almost weekly for the last month. I did a Zedo review, kind of Zedo plus the NAS, kind of my pros and cons after using it for 3 months. And then I have a pretty popular video for me. I got a lot of comments, was the need to upgrade versus wanting to upgrade.
Okay.
And yeah, so Terminator Juice is my YouTube channel. I'm going to change it now that I'm almost exclusively home theater. I might just go with like Bo's Home Theater or something.
Nice.
But I have a legacy podcast that's been going on for 11 years for gaming content, and I still have some pretty loyal followers, so I'm kind of torn on that. But anyway,
yeah,
I love watching movies, and I love watching. I don't watch a lot of YouTube home theater guys, but I do appreciate the guys I do watch. You, Shane Lee, and John Blank on the others, but Tony from Build Montage. I just I like guys that like to watch movies and aren't just all about the gear all the time. So
yeah, cool. All right, well, we'll call it here. Thanks everybody.
Right.
We'll talk to everybody soon. Coming back for more home theater discussion and fun. Thanks.